So as you all may have known or have been in here, you can just log in using your email address, and then you're going to press next. Your password, if you put it in, should auto-populate. So once you go into there, you're just going to sign in. And that's going to bring you to our landing page. I'm going to go ahead and start from the top and just kind of move over, give some information as I'm going, and then come back to each tab and go in a little more detail. So the first one here is My Quotes. If you click on that one, it's going to give you any information of quotes that you've created yourself. But there is an option if you go into this little gearbox here. So say one of your associates is out for the day and you need to look at a quote that they've done. You can click on this down arrow here, and you have some options here. It says see data from other users. So if you click on this one, it'll give you any quotes that have been created for your account by any of your associates. So you can look up those quotes. Also within the same box, there's one to group by project. So on the quote headers, I'm going to go in here really quick just so you can see. There's a position here to assign it a project. So if you do put a project name in here and you're in My Quotes, using this down arrow here and clicking on that, it'll group them by your project name. So if you name it a project, you can look at all the ones for that project at one time, and then just go into that one, and it'll show you the quotes that are associated with that. So just an easier way to sort your information. So we're going to go out of that. The same thing on My Orders. This is going to be anything you've actually placed through Talon. It'll populate here once it's placed. And you have the same option again to look for users within your company or by project name. My Views is currently not used a lot by our customers, but it is something we can help you set up. So if you need to set up a specific view for, you want to take your information and get it down to a more linear thing where you can just click on this and see the information, you can do that. And we'll help you set those up. There's a lot of fields. You just need to kind of let us know what you're looking for, and we'll get that set up for you and then help you set up your views. We use this a lot, gosh, excuse me, internally for tracking. Like we need to look at a quote when you're looking at it, we can actually go in here and find that same quote number and look at it at the same time you are. We also use it to enter our orders. So this is what we're currently using it for. My Customers, I call this a virtual Rolodex. What this does, it allows you to set up your clientele and give them specific margins. So say you sell to the public at 50% margin, but you have an everyday customer that buys from you consistently on projects and you do 40% margin on him. You can actually go in and set up a contact information, put that margin in here, and then every time you do a quote, you can select that customer and it'll automatically populate that margin, so you're not having to make adjustments to your margins. And we'll come back and I'll show you how to do that. My Plans, that's kind of like a template order. So you can actually create a template just like you would in the configurator, and then use that every time to place an order to like change quantities or that kind of thing. If you have a big project and you have different handings that you're going to need for that project, you can actually go in and create a master template and then select that and then make changes to your quote without messing up your template. And then My Favorites, this one's really not working the way we have anticipated so far, but what this is going to allow you to do is put certain products into a favorite, and then at one point you'll be able to go in here and create a quote off of this. So say your customers always buy a, flush door, double bore, and you don't want to have to keep configuring it. You can actually just save it here, and eventually you'll be able to come back and select that and make a quote out of it. So I'm going to come back to this here. We're going to go over this in detail, but I want to come back to that at the end. The other good feature on here, if you're in any of these tabs and you want to get back to the landing page, if you just click on the eagle up here, it'll take you back to the landing page, so you get quick access to that. You'll notice here you have some different options to do a quote. So you have two that say new quote. These are exactly the same. They'll take you to the same place. Quick configure, that takes you directly into the product selections for the doors. And then buy hardware online, that takes you directly into the parts configurator for the hardware parts. The next box over here, this is a view of your quotes. So this is a quick view. Instead of clicking on my quotes and you just did a quote, you can just actually pull it up in here instead of having to go into my quotes. It only lists the first 5, but then if you pick view here, it's going to list the whole thing of quotes, just like if you clicked on my quotes. Same thing on my orders. Also on the landing page, you have access to the ABS website. So if you click on here, it'll automatically take you to the website. Hold on, I gotta drag this down for a second. Same thing on the hardware. It'll let you click on here and then take you to the hardware website. Check a PO. So what this will do is it'll let you put in a purchase order number. And if you click check the PO, this one's not gonna work because that's not the right one. Let me grab a PO number real quick. Put a PO number in here and I click this, it'll tell you that it's definitely in our system. So we've processed it. It'll give you the invoice number and the estimated delivery date of that product. So that's a quick, nice little thing if you're looking for a PO.
Is that date updated?
Yeah, the date will be updated if we make any changes. So if you go in there and it has a ship date and then that date may change, it gets updated based off of the ship date we have in turns. And then Door America, this will take you to the Door America brochure for the Millennium products and plush doors, that kind of thing. So you can go in here and look at that. Same thing with the Door America hardware. Go to that brochure. And then this last one is a how-to. This will take you into some guides, some written guides of how to use Talon hardware, training, that kind of thing. And there's also some visual guides here. This is just an overview of the whole platform. This is how to do an interior, simple interior build-up. Again, exterior doors. Your paperwork kind of goes over all the paperwork that's in the system, and then pocket frames, and then sliding wardrobes for some locations that have that. Again, this is just if you get lost on something, you need to go back. This is a quick way to get there. And then lastly, there's always going to be a flyer at the bottom of the hardware that's on sale for the month. Okay, so we're going to go back here and start a quote. So I'm going to start first with this quick config because it's going to take me directly to the products. But I will come back and show you the difference between the two. So if I go into the quick configure, it's going to automatically bring me to the select a brand. So let's start with an interior and we'll do molded. So we always suggest you click on more choices so that you can see the different options. I'll show you in the fiberglass section, you're going to see that it's going to say slab and single unit. If you only saw those and you were trying to build a fire door, you would never be able to get to it because you have to select the fire door one if you need a rated unit. So we're just going to do a standard single pre-hung. You're going to notice up here too, as I move through the sections, you're going to get a green check mark if the section is complete. If it's not completed, you're going to see a red triangle with an exclamation mark in it. That means you've either not answered a question or there's questions that need to still be answered. You're going to see when I do this portion that some of these are going to auto-populate a check mark because we have them set up for defaults, the most commonly used items, but we suggest you still go in there and check those. So I'm just going to pick our right hand. Let's start with a 2-4. I'm picking 6-8 because that has our most options. So once I get into here, you're going to see door model options. It gives you the skin types, it gives you the styles, and then here's all the doors that are available. But you'll notice as I select smooth, the options change. They're not all here anymore. Same if I pick textured. You're going to only have the 2 textured available. So if you're not seeing the door you're looking for, it may be a smooth door as opposed to a textured, and vice versa. So I'm going to leave it on smooth because that's our most options. Again, same thing with fiber styles and finger joint. So if you look here, we have all these options for finger joint. But if I pick fiber styles, your selection is less. So again, always make sure if you're looking for a specific door and it's not available in that, select the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a door here. Then it lets you know that this is available in hollow core, solid core. So at this point, you could select solid. I'm going to stay with hollow for now. And you'll notice once I got through this section, these 2 populated the green check marks. But I'm going to go in there anyway and verify that I want a single bore door. You can definitely do a no bore. And then it's going to auto populate primed 4 9/16, no carpet cut, US 15 hinges. Okay, so I'm going to leave 4 and 9. I'm not going to change the carpet cut. If you click on this down arrow, it does give you the option for the colonial stop. So that is an adder. It gives you the option to do curve for bull nose. And then on your hinge types, it gives you different colors. So if you wanted to change these to 10B, we could do that. You guys are automatically 3 hinges, but it does also give you an option for ball bearing hinges. Then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to go in here and you're going to verify your rough opening size. If you click on the photo, it does make it a little bit larger. If you need a different width, say you need it a little bit narrower, you can click on this. It's going to let you know the minimum that you can go down on that product. Same on the height. If you need it undercut, it's going to let you know you can only go down to 76 inches on the rough opening. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and add this one to the quote. But before I do that, I'm going to go into here to this down arrow. So mostly on interiors, you're doing a house pack. So instead of you having to keep going back to the beginning and starting over, if you pick the down arrow and you save and copy that, it lets you leave all that information. You can just go back to the configuration and dimensions portion and say you needed the same door in left hands. You can add the left hands, go back and do the same thing. And now say you needed 2 8s and you need some outswing doors there. And the same thing here. Let's do right hands and do some 3/0s. And do some left hands. And then once I'm done, I know I don't have any more doors. I can just add to quote. So in those few clicks, I've added all of the doors to my quote. So also, if you were in this quote and you realize that, oh, the 3/0, I need to change the wall condition. If you click edit and just go back to your pre-hung options and change this to 5 1/4, and say this door, they don't want bronze hinges on, they want satin nickel for some reason. You can make those changes and then save that line item again. What that's going to do once you do that, however, it's going to tell you, hey, you changed one door to 5 1/4, but you have all these others that are not. Do you want to leave them, or are you going to change all the wall conditions? If you wanted to change the wall conditions on all, you could push apply all, or you could just select the line item that you needed to change. Same on the hinges. It's going to tell you that this one's the odd man out, and that if you want to change all of them, you can do that. But I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to skip that. So once you're doing a quote too, we do suggest that you do the double check before you get ready to place your order. This is going to show any inconsistencies. So it's going to show your handings. It's going to show your wall condition inconsistency, and it's going to show your hinge inconsistency. So say you got to that one and you realize, oh, no, I need to change that one back to satin nickel hinges. You could just go back into that one line item and select the hinges. Oil rub bronze hinges, and save it. And again, it's going to bring up that these are changed. We're just going to skip that. So that's another double check. Also on this screen, if you're doing a quote and you don't want, say possibly you have a customer standing behind you and you don't want them to see any of the pricing at all, meaning what you would sell it at and your cost, you could click this hide all pricing. So when they're standing behind you, they're not going to see anything other than product that you're creating. The other option is you can select hide your pricing. So it'll hide your cost, but it'll show them their pricing that you're selling to them at. And then this pricing details, this kind of brings up the margin of what you're selling the customer at on this particular quote. Say you need to change it for this one and you need to go to 40. You could just actually apply that. And then all the pricing on the quote would change in one time. So that's pretty much the quote side. I'm going to come back to this one in a few minutes, and we're going to submit an order, but I want to go through the other option of how to do a quote. So say you're here and you needed to do a whole different quote. Instead of having to go back to the main screen, you'll see right here, it says new quote. You can just click on that. It's going to automatically start you a new quote. So when you do any of the green buttons, it's going to show this type of a screen. It's not going to take you directly to the product. So at this point, you would need to select new line item, and that would take you to the brands. So we're going to go ahead and do an exterior unit. Let's do fiberglass. Again, I want to do more choices here because, as I explained earlier, if you pick single and you were trying to get a 20-minute door, you would never find it. It wouldn't be in there. So I'm going to pick single. And again, I'm going to do 3068 because that's the one with most choices for us. So again, once I started doing that, it auto-populated information. It's going to do it again once I select the door. So again, you're going to pick more choices. And let's do a half light today. So once you get past what type of door you want, it's going to ask you for door glass style. So you're going to go in here and select if you want to insert or full surround wrought iron. So when you get to full surround wrought iron, it's only going to give you one option because that's the only option we have in that. But if I select glass insert, it's going to give me several options on the glass. And I'll show you that here in a second. So my next question is what type of door I want. Again, you want to select more options. Let's do smooth. So as I'm selecting these, it's showing me what options I have. You'll notice on the smooth, it only shows 3 options with the cottage bottom. If you needed a 1-panel flat bottom, you would have to select the ADA because that door does have an ADA bottom and that's a flush 1-panel bottom. So then I would go here and select glass options, and let's do a solstice. Once I select that, you'll notice it starts populating the door to the side. So if I select cottage door, then it adds that panel to the bottom. If I select the 2-panel, then it'll add that to the bottom. Tells you your K-mean. And then we're going to go to pre-hung options. Again, it auto-populates the primed. Your wall conditions are listed here. If you need a custom, you can do that. Say you need a 5-inch. Once you put the size in, you're going to press tab, and then it accepts that sizing. And then from there, you can select your sill. It does auto-populate bronze. You automatically get brick mold. You can decide if you want it attached or shipped loose. Then you would select your weather stripping Your door bottom, again, hinges. This one you do have another option for ball bearing. It's listed this way as opposed to checking a box. And then we would select more choices here. 10B. So on this one, you're going to notice that it only gives you an option to change the height. That's because we don't cut down our fiberglass doors in width. So if you need to change the height, again, it's going to give you the maximum you can go down. So we're just going to leave it standard for now. And then I'm going to add that to the quote. Okay. So let's go back to my original quote that I did. So say on this quote, you needed some other options. Say you needed hardware for this one. So in order to do that, you would just go to this down arrow here, select that, and select add parts. And then you could come in here and select whatever you needed. So say you needed an astragal for, they were just replacing their astragal on their unit. You could add that to the quote. And then I'm going to close that out. So you're going to see that astragal right here. So what you need to be aware of is the doors will print on one order and your hardware will print on another order. So you're going to get two confirmations for this. That's because the hardware prints automatically. The door process right now, we're having to manually still enter, but this will print automatically. So you will receive two different confirmations. Other thing you can be aware of in here, there's some options for notes. So say you needed some special instructions on this, you can add them into this note section. So let's put on here. And then you can save those. And you can do them by line item, or you can do them by a general note for the whole order. This one I'm put a note on because I need to let my guys know when I process this. Cancel. That's just my internal side because it's going to print once I finish this. The other option here is attachments. So say you had a special template, like I put the note in here that I have a template for the boring. You can attach that template right here. So what you would do is go to new attachment. You can either drop the file in there or go into your select files and then select a file. I'm going to just put something in here so you can see. And then it'll load it onto there. If I need to remove it, I can just click remove. If I need to add another one, I can just, again, select it or drop it into the file. So now I have two attachments. And you're going to notice you need to scroll down and save it. And then you'll notice that it'll tell us there's two attachments. So we have two attachments and two notes on this order. So when you're placing an order, you're going to go into your quote details here. Purposely, I'm not going to put a PO in here initially, but I want to show you what you would do. So you would actually have to go in here and put a purchase order number in this. Anytime you see the little red asterisk, that means that field has to be filled out before it will let us process the order. So once you put a PO number in here, you're going to scroll down and save that. I purposely didn't do that because I want to show you what happens if you accidentally forget to do that. So I'm going to submit this order. And it's going to ask me if I'm sure I want to do that. I'm put OK. Now it's going to bring me back to this section where it's showing me any inconsistencies. And I'm going to say proceed. Okay, you'll notice I got a red box up here. It says required fields are missing. Review quote details and try again. So what that's telling me is I forgot to put the PO number in. So I'm going to exit out of that. I'm going to go back into quote details. I'm going to put in a PO number. One thing you need to know about PO numbers as well. I know some companies use like account names or customer names. You will not be able to duplicate a PO. So if you used, say, Amy PO, the next time you'd have to do like Amy-1 or Amy-2 because it won't accept Amy again. Okay, so we're going to save that. And then I'm going to submit the order. Again, it's going to go through the same questions. It's going to have me verify all this information. Then once I did that, you'll notice it went from my quotes to my orders, and it's telling me that quote has now been ordered. So it will move into the next file for you. And then once we're done, we'll go back into here and you will have an invoice number that is put in here and a delivery date. So you can, when you go into my orders, when we've completed it, you'll see that information is in there. Okay, let's go to my customers. Again, this one's pretty helpful. I'm going to create a new customer and then I'm going to show you a customer. So I'm going to go into a new customer. So we're going to name this, give it a name. It does require an email address. Customer ID, this is for you. So say you have an ID number that you use on your paperwork for your customer. You can actually populate this in here and it will show on everything. So I'm going to save that. You'll notice those are gray. And once I save it, they turn to blue writing. So now I can actually go in here and add information. So I can go in and add their billing address. So say they have one billing address and fill it all out. But anyway, you can put all your information here, email, phone number, etc. Then there's an option for shipping addresses. Same thing here. You can go in and add their company name. And all the information and save that. Say you're doing 4 or 5 different jobs for this same customer, you can continue to add delivery addresses and save them. So I'm going to go back into here. And so that just creates a complete Rolodex. You'll notice they're in alphabetical order. You can sort these however you want. If you want to sort it reversed, you can do that, but it will be alphabetic. Or you can, excuse me, so you can share this with internal users. So if you select share, then anybody in your company can see that same Rolodex information. My plans, we'll do this one real quick. This is, like I said, a template. So we're going to do a new plan. You'll notice that it does ask for a name. And then you could put a project name in here. So I'm going to create that one. Okay, so you'll notice on this, it gives you a plan number, not a quote number. And again, it's the same as the configurator. You're going to go in and you're going to select product. Let's do, for this one, let's do a pocket frame. So I'm going to go in and select pocket frame. And I'm going to add that to the quote. And then you could, again, just add another line item, say you needed an exterior door. Let's do a res metal door today. Pick your handing, your size. Let's just do a flush door. Again, it auto-populated double bore. And on this one, you'll notice there's not an option to change that. The reason is that's the only way we stock this door. So if you needed a door that had a single bore, you would have to go in and select something else. So let's do a 6-panel. So now that I changed to a 6-panel, I have an option to change it to single bore or no bore, etc. But because that door only has that option, it's only going to let you select double bore. So just be aware of that. If you see something like that, that's because that's the only way we have it. Again, we're going to go back in here and select all of our weather stripping, door bottom, hinges. And we're going to verify the height and add that to the quote. Okay, so now I have that in my plans. So say I was working on the project and I knew I needed this plan. All I would do is go into that plan and click create quote. And I want you to watch this section here because it's going to change. So I'm going to create a quote. Again, it's going to have to give it a name. So now it's switched to a quote. So at this point, if you know all this information is correct, you're not going to change anything. You could quickly just add your purchase order number in here and place it as an order. Okay. Again, buy hardware online. It's just going to take you back into a quote and it'll take you directly to the parts configurator. And then you can start selecting from there. Go back here. I think I covered everything except for this. Any questions so far that you'd like me to go back over, or something that you didn't see that maybe you're looking for?
Could you show us how to change markup on a door again?
Yep, that's what I'm going to go over right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, okay, let's go into the next setting here is your general settings. So if you hover over your email address, you're going to get 3 different things here. General settings, we suggest you do not go into, but if you do and you happen to change something, it happens. So we've had customers actually go in here and change this to imperial feet or inches or metric or something and save it. If you do that and you try to do a quote, let's go back here. I'm just going to go in and select something. Just do a slab door. It's automatically going to give you this error because it can't figure out what you're trying to do. Okay. So what you do at that point is you're going to have to go back into your general settings. Yeah, I'm going to leave the quote. And just make sure it's on Imperial. And then save that. Let's go back to my quotes. So now if I go back into that same slab door, it'll let me move forward because I have the information. I'm going to go ahead and finish this quote just to kind of go over with you. You'll notice you have handings here and you have an unprepped slab. So if you want an unprepped slab, nothing done to it, you would select this. And then you would just add your size in. Let's pick a quick one here. Forgot to show you the stars too. Let's do that really quick. And then I'm going to go back and save and copy. So if I went back into here and I selected right hand for the same product, you'll notice it adds an additional question. So this will let you do a pre-fit door only. So say I want to pre-fit to ABS standard, our standard bore. So our hinges are 8, 38, and 68. Our bore's at 44. And then if you need it beveled, you do need to select your bevel. 3/16 under. And then you would just confirm the height on that and add that to the quote. I'm going to go back in here really quick. So one other thing I didn't mention, but I seem to pass this by often. You'll see these little stars down here. I'm going to go back into the door model. If you select that star, it's going to ask you if you want to set this as your preference. So anytime you go into a quote for molded doors, it'll automatically select Madison for you. I personally don't think you should set that, but if you know your customers always buy 6 panels and you don't want to have to answer that question every time, you can definitely set that as your preference. And you'll notice once you do that, the star turns solid. You can easily turn it off just by going back in and unselecting that. And then the star will be clear again. Okay, so let's go back over here. Okay, the next one on here is pricing preferences. So this is where it lets you set up your general margin. So your margin for anybody walking in the door, whatever you want to put that up at, you can do. You can do it by gross margin or you can do it by markup. So we usually use markup, so I'm going to go to 50% markup. It'll let you add your sales tax, so whatever your sales tax is for your area, so that you can charge your customer sales tax. There's also freight adders, labor adders. Just note that these tend to still add the tax to them. Even though we have it as exempt, it's still adding the tax. So usually we add these, you can add these at the end. Okay. So once you've selected what you want to do on that, you just scroll down and save it. So now every quote that you go into is going to have that margin. And the last one is paperwork headers. So this one lets you select your header to populate on your customer's paperwork that shows, and yours, that shows your logo. So what you would do is you would go in, and I'm just going to edit the one I have so that you can see, but you would click new header, and then it gives you the option to name it, so you can give it whatever name you want. And then you can add your company information, so your address, your phone number, your fax number, any pertinent information you want to show up on the customer's paperwork. And then you can insert your logo. So you would just go in and choose the file, find your logo, whatever it is, select it and add it in. And then once you've done all of that, again, you got to push save. Okay, so now let's go back to my quotes here. Let's pick this one. Okay, so the other thing I want to show you lastly is the paperwork. So if you click on this actions button and you select paperwork, this is going to give you all the paperwork that's available to you. So you'll notice the top ones are in blue and they say dealer. So the dealer ones are anything that's going to show your cost. So you don't want to send these to a customer. The ones below say customer. There is one on here that's not working correctly, so please don't use it. And it's the one that says customer detail quote parts. We're in the process of getting this one fixed. So please don't send that to your customer. It's currently populating your cost. And I don't want you guys to lose any money. So the first one here is the dealer cart view. Let's open that one. So what that does, it just gives an overview of what the product is. That it's a fiberglass door. This is its size, and then a picture and a price. The next one is dealer detail quote. So this one's going to give more details. It's going to actually show you all the questions you answered for that product and what you selected on each one. The next one is dealer detail quote with line items. So this one's going to show every question you answered in a line item format as opposed to a paragraph format. Same thing for every item, and then it'll show your cost. And then the last one is a summary quote. This is pretty much similar to the other one where it just shows the brief information. So the first two are almost identical. Customer cart view, same as your cart view. It's just going to give them an overview of the information. So they can't go down the street to Mary Sue and say, can you quote this, and have all the details. So it gives it just an overview. This is the same thing, but has no pricing at all. So if you just want to give them that portion and a total dollar amount, you can just write that on here. Here's the detailed quote. So this, again, it shows everything that you answered. So if you wanted to hand that to your customer and have them sign off on that, you can do that. And then you can have a confirmation of what they agreed to. Again, parts we don't want to use. The paragraph 1 is similar to the part. It just doesn't show the information. It just shows the product in a bigger format. This is a summary quote, same as the other one, just more condensed for you. This is the same, but doesn't have any pricing. These are test quotes. That shouldn't even be in there. Okay, so those are all your quotes. One other thing that happens, you'll get every 6 to 8 weeks, I'll be sending out an email telling you that we did some updates to the system. When you see that, if you've already done a quote, say the day prior or the week prior, it's going to error out on you if you try to process it as an order. So what you're going to need to do is select this down arrow and select update before you process that as an order. And what it'll do is it'll just update the information. Most times it's not based off of pricing. If it's a pricing one, we'll let you know. But 99% of the time, it's items that we're fixing so that the selections that you need are in there. Maybe we've added product or deleted it. So we want to make sure it has the most current information. I think I got everything. I don't know if there's any other questions on the system. Just remember, don't hesitate to ever reach out. That's what we're here for, to assist you. We recommend you contact your outside rep first, but if he's not available or she's not available, just go ahead and reach out to myself. I'm going to give you guys my cell phone number. It's 909-641-4862. And you can reach out at any time if you have questions or get stuck somewhere and you're not able to reach your outside rep. So, any other questions? Just also a reminder, you can't break the system. It's pretty, if there's something you're doing and it's wrong, it's going to give you an error. So go in there and play. You know, if you see something that you not quite understanding or need information, just let us know and we'll assist you on that. But yeah, enjoy the configurator. I think it's pretty simple. I think it's going to make processing your orders a little bit easier as well. So
yeah, Anna, you want to talk about the feedback?
About what?
The feedback button?
Oh, correct. I always forget that one too. Okay, there is a feedback button on here. So you can select that at any time and select a rating. Just do 7. And then put any information in here. Again, this is for positive and negative feedback. Go ahead and put it in here. It's helpful for us so that, say you don't have time to reach out to us, you can just put it in here, submit it, and then this comes back to us and we can help you get through whatever the issue is, or maybe it's a suggestion of something that we need to change in the system. We're open for all of that. So please use this at your discretion whenever you need to, and we'll address those as we get them. All right. Okay, any other questions, concerns? Okay, I'll give you guys back about 15 minutes of the time we had slotted. And thank you for taking the time to listen and come out and do the class with us. We appreciate your business and look forward to some orders on Talon.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.